So, first thing I want to start with is I just want to know what's your job title at the moment, and I mean if currently you're assigned to a specific project, job site, or you're mostly focused like on like an office position, or
Okay, so my job title is a VDC project manager. So we simplify it with VDC, but it's virtual design and construction, and I oversee all of the Intel Ohio BIM work. So currently, you could say it's a job site. It's one big project, multiple buildings, and just to kind of give you a little bit of background, um,
okay,
right now I'm currently remote, so I don't go to the job sites. Everything is virtual. Everything that we use to communicate with one another is through Microsoft Office. Similar to this, we use Teams. We constantly do Teams calls, video calls. We're constantly on meetings, coordinating the scope of work being performed, priorities, things like that. But currently, like I said, I'm remote. In the past, we have been assigned to specific job sites, whether that's data centers, other
okay,
manufacturers. So we are primarily hybrid. We can either be on the job site or remote.
okay. So you switch from depends what's a necessity at the end, right? So
Right, right. And with, large projects, you'll be remote, for a year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe 5 years. And then one project will come up, and then it's a requirement to be on site. So you'll, have to make that decision whether you want to go to site or, you're looking for something different.
all right, all right. Other question I have is, for right now, how long have you been working like for your current company? And how to like to add to that question is how long have you been in the industry like actively participating in BIM? Like,
Okay. So
yeah.
I've been with IES for 6 years. And I've been in the industry for a little over 13 years.
Oof.
So,
And have you enjoyed all those 13 years, bro? Like, have you done BIM all those 13 years, or have you like switched trades and
no, I've been doing virtual construction for those 13 years, whether it was 2D, 3D, out in the field helping the guys install. Once you get into the industry, uh, you pick your discipline and you observe everything about it. And
okay.
that's basically what I've done. I start at the very, very bottom, just a modeler. You start off by not knowing anything.
Yeah.
Back when I started, I picked the electrical side, and I remember my first day. Uh, Project manager came and he said, "All right, buddy, do you know what a piece of conduit is? Do you know
Yeah.
what a strut strap is?" And believe it or not, back in the day, as you're entering any discipline, I mean, you're not going to know much, unless I mean, with you guys, I mean, you guys are educated. I mean, I'm sure in your project management courses, you guys might touch, some terminology, some
Yeah.
very basics on, maybe architecture, structure, concrete. But as you get into the industry, the first thing that you want to do is you want to pick what you want to do. And personally, I went with the electrical side, but you can pick from architecture, structure, concrete, mechanical, HVAC, uh, process, fire protection, and each trade has its own niche, right? So whether you like um, one or the other, once you begin, you're not going to know anything. You're going to start from the bottom, and you're going to start taking notes. That would be my suggestion. I mean, you guys are pretty young. A lot of people don't necessarily like taking notes. Note taking is a huge tool to retain the information. So, my first 5, 6 years, I created journals of what happened every day. I went out to the field. The installation team was pulling cable. I noticed this. I learned, these new brackets. I learned these new fittings. I learned that you're supposed to support after so many feet, and just retaining that information and constantly noting will get you that experience. So again, I think one of the things that this group should probably focus on is identifying what discipline interests you, because um, one is a lot to learn. All of them, I mean, it's that much more to learn, which is not impossible. General contractors have employees that work across the board. They help the architecture, structure, concrete, and they're well rounded, amongst all trades. Which again, if that's something that you guys are interested in, you guys would probably need to expand your mindset to just cover a larger canvas, just because there's a lot to learn about each and every trade.
All right. Thank you for that keynote, sir.
Yep,
That's
yep.
it's a pretty good point of view from the industry, and I gotta lie, it's a good words of wisdom.
Thank you.
Um, so
Yeah, so going into the technologies that you use currently, can you identify like one specific piece of software technology that you're currently using?
So I noticed on the questionnaire, um, it's specified for like one or two different technologies or different softwares, and I want to make sure that you guys understand that it's more than one. So when you're working to complete a project, um, currently I'm not using these technologies, but I've used them, and I think it's a great tool for the industry. Trimble layout, which if you guys are a little bit familiar with land surveying, you're basically putting dots on the ground.
Yeah, I use Trimble and every day at work, so
Oh,
I'm
nice,
familiar with it.
nice. So that's good. So Trimble is important. It's a little underrated, I would say. It's a very um, it's a beneficial tool to use. On the technology side, it's more of a field driven technology. So like on the VDC side or the BIM side, Trimble is a different department. So with it being a different department, it's more or less in the field realm versus the office BIM side. We work with Trimble. Trimble works with the field. They're basically that conduit that speaks from BIM to the field and make sure that the field installs exactly what was modeled. So Trimble, like I said, is a good one. Scanning, Faro scanning, which is there's multiple scanning tools. The cheapest could be anywhere from 10 grand to 15 grand. The higher scanners, which kind of looks like a robot you can put on a backpack, put on your helmet, you walk around, and it's scanning the entire building. So the benefit in scans is that what that does, it creates pixels. It creates a format where the file format is an FLS file. You can review those scans in a different application. You can take documents of specific coordinates so that when you're modeling, you don't clash with anything. So scans are extremely valuable, and it's actually a good niche that the trades need. Not every company can afford or maybe has the luxury of buying a scanner. Some of the older companies, they're probably not using scanners. Some of the newer companies that have technology integrated into their processes, those companies probably buy scanners. But that's a good niche to start with. If one of you buys a scanner, I'm sure you guys could promote yourselves as, hey, we can scan this area, and it's a huge value add. A lot of companies need scans. Another tool, I'm trying to think on the construction side. Um, the Oculus was a pretty good tool. And again, right now I'm not necessarily using those technologies just based on the project that I'm on. It's a new build. Everything is being built from the ground. So a lot of these technologies aren't necessarily being used yet, but in other existing facilities, Oculus is a huge tool. Put on your Oculus, you upload your model to the cloud, you go out to the field, you you position your model based on field coordinates, and then you're basically viewing everything that you modeled on site. So you're making sure that nothing is going to clash with anything existing, and you're there to validate that your design will work. So those three tools are probably my favorite tools, and I think that they're going to be the ones leading the industry for a lot of items that are needed in the field.
Yeah. So going back to Trimble specifically, who in your company uses Trimble? Is it like pre-con? Do you use it in operations? Are project managers using it or?
You know, that's funny that you mention it, because with IES, we don't necessarily use the Trimble uh, within our department as much as we would like. Other companies have a specific department within their VDC department, and it's utilized on as many projects as they can. For IES, because we're more of a cable pulling company, we have others install conduit, we have others install raceway for us. We don't necessarily use Trimble a whole lot. Back a couple years back, um, there was a Trimble floating from project to project. PMs who were savvy enough would integrate it into their process. Any project that needed any hard conduit to be installed would use those. But like I said, for the majority of our work, we pull cable. We design the work. Someone else installs it. We pull the cable. So there's not much need of a Trimble for our scope.
Got it. So you guys aren't currently using Trimble. For you said those scanners, are you guys using those?
No, not. Actually, we are. We are using it in Arizona. Not
Okay.
for the project that I'm on. I'm in Ohio, but for Arizona, we are using scans.
And then who in your company, like where is that being utilized?
It's within the VDC department. So we have modelers who use them. Our PMs use them. Our field technicians, if they need to review something with us, we're reviewing it together. So scans is a huge tool. If a project is using scans, then we highly recommend integrating that into the process.
Perfect, nice.
Yep.
Bowie, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so I don't have much experience with electrical construction, but I'd assume you have to collaborate a lot with subcontractors and make sure, the HVAC or mechanical doesn't get in the way of the conduit or raceways. So I was wondering if you could identify like a technology or software that you use a lot to help collaborate with other subs.
Definitely, and something to note and really understand is that in construction there's a hierarchy. The way you worded it is why I'm saying this. Technically, HVAC will never be in the way of a conduit. The reason why is because HVAC is huge. If they go here, they go here. So that means the smaller guy, he's going to route around him. So architecture is probably a priority. Structure is priority. HVAC being the biggest one, their priority. Mechanical is priority. Got some important long lead items. Process pipe, little stainless lines, those are important. And then electrical is at the very bottom. So in other words, we're the ones to move. Software that we use: Revit, AutoCAD, Navis Manage for clash detection. We use scans. We're talking about scans. We use Recap. Recap is another application to view scans. We use Scene. Scene is a different application to review scans. We use Dynamo scripts. to automate processes, whether it's creating sheets, whether it's creating views. But for the clash detection piece, it's strictly Navis Manage and BIMTrax. So BIMTrack is a plugin for Navis. Anytime there's an issue, whether we identify it, whether someone else identifies it, we create an issue within the 3D model. We're viewing it in 3D. We identify a spot. We create an issue. We assign it to the trade. We place general information. For example, if we're low voltage, so it's electrical and low voltage, we're kind of like, brother and sister. A lot of the times, we're the ones that are coordinating more. If we're clashing with anyone that's a higher priority, there's no reason to coordinate. We're going to move anyways. So we just clear those clashes. But if it's within electrical, we'll start coordinating, given an issue, this issue to be resolved within 5 days, clear the clash. And that's the coordination that's ongoing for clashes. We have weekly meetings with other subs, with the trades. The general contractor generally creates the meeting. They lead the meeting. Anybody have any issues? First one to raise their hand. We have issues. We need electrical to move. We need mechanical to confirm. Where are you going to be? And that's what we do. I mean, before you start modeling, kickoff meetings are very important. So in the industry, for the longest time that I can remember, a big problem is how efficient you are when you start. So in other words, you have to review your scope. You have to review the Navis model, start flying, identifying areas where you can install. All of this is coordinated with your field team, because as BIM operators, our BIM operators have some construction experience, but they're not field personnel. These guys are tech savvy. They've had some experience in the field. They understand material, but we rely on our field team. Every company that you're gonna work for has a strong field team, has a strong BIM team. We work together. We pre-plan. We have kickoff meetings. We have a premature meeting with the trades. We talk about all of the planning. If everyone agrees, that's when you start. If you start before you review your scope, before you talk to different trades, the chance of rework is 90%. You will do rework. So pre-planning, kickoff meetings, and then reviewing in Navis is probably the major highlights.
Okay. And is there like a team lead on that BIM team that coordinates with the GC to bring up those issues and resolve them? Or is it kind of like whoever spots it first just says it in the meeting?
That's a good question. So we do have leads. So every company has a specific structure. You have your directors, you have your project managers, you have your project manager assistants, your BIM coordinators, your lead modelers, your modelers, and then your development team. So your development team is going to be it could be one person, it could be two people, it could be three people, and these guys are going to be your experts in development. Whether you need a new family, whether you need a script, whether you need something technical, they focus on giving you that technical side. If a modeler brings up an issue, hey, I don't have a panel name, I don't have XYZ. The lead brings it up in a high level meeting. They get the answer, and then they share it down the pipeline.
Okay. And then for the Navis Manage, I've used it a little bit just in class for projects and assignments, just so I can get a basis of the class section on that. I was wondering if you talk about any pros and cons that really stand out to you about that software.
Pros and cons for the software. So not many cons. I think Navis Manage is a great tool. It's super easy to use if you understand the 10 things that you use it for. Something that you'll notice in the industry is that there's two types of people. Someone who navigates Navis with their feet. So you're just flying, and as you're cruising in Navis, it's more of a flow where you're going up, you're going down, you're cruising to the left, to the right, and that is what most modelers do. But because we work with general contractors, sometimes the general contractors send us viewpoints to review. Their settings are different. A lot of designers, a lot of general contractors use a different walking tool. They use the orbit. I have no idea why. It's the way they view Navis. Since they're not necessarily modeling or navigating, they use orbit. So you get to the spot, and then your settings are not in the walk mode. So you try to walk, and your model starts to orbit. It starts to kind of get out of whack. And if you don't know how to set up your Navis settings, you'll be lost for 2 days. So I guess that would be the con. That Navis Manage, if you understand your settings to walk, to rotate, and there's an option to view things far and near. So in other words, if we open up a Navis model from a different trade or a GC, understanding the settings is going to be very important, or you're going to be lost for a day or two trying to figure out why you try to walk and everything disappears, or you try to walk and now you orbit, or things like that. Which when I started, that's what I ran into. Started my day and try to use Navis, and for some reason everything disappears. For some reason I'm walking too fast, and you do lose a day or two in trying to figure out what's going on. But again, just understanding those settings will go a long way.
Okay. So when you're reviewing the clash test results, you're using the option to physically walk through the building, so it's like you're actually there.
So there's multiple stages of a clash report. When you're modeling, you're not complete. So you're modeling. I usually like to physically view it. I'm running through this pipe. This pipe is clash free. It's sitting on this strut. Everything is good. Okay, no problem. Go on to the next pipe. You end up modeling 100 pipes, and to your best ability, you think they're clash free. Okay, so that's good. Now it's time to run the physical clash report. You're clashing your model with 10 models. You set up your settings to be an eighth of an inch tolerance. So anything that's an eighth of an inch apart, or maybe it's zero tolerance. Maybe they have to be touching. You run it, and it's going to identify 200 clashes. It's going to identify 1,000 clashes, because in our models we model LOD 400. That means you model everything, every nut, every square washer, every clearance zone, everything. So sometimes you'll have a conduit clipping a clearance zone, but we know it's approved. We've talked about it, and you'll be going through a long list of clashes, knowing that this one's not real, this one's not real, and then you fine tune it to the real ones. You either fix them, or you leave a comment for someone else to fix them. You export these reports, you send it over to the general contractor, you send it over to the trade. You say, hey, I ran my clash report. I need your help in fixing these 10 clashes. Let me know if you have any questions. That trade will review them. If they can fix them, they'll fix them. If they say, hey, I can't do anything about it, I'm already prefabricated, then at that point, you would have to fix it.
Okay.
And different general contractors require different formats for their clash reports. And once you get into the industry, you'll learn 5 different ways to run a clash report based on the general contractor's requirements.
Okay.
So don't get stuck on one way. There's multiple ways of doing it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm pretty sure you're quite aware about the AI uprising that's kind of happening recently.
Mhm.
I just have one question: if like your company has started implementing AI, or if AI has been something that you started using in your personal life, or it's
Yeah,
just
AI is
I'm using
definitely
the AI.
being utilized. So we're in the early stages. We're not necessarily using it a whole lot, but we do have a section of team members that are looking into AI. So above
Okay.
my department, so the company as a whole is looking at AI. They are purchasing AI tools. One tool that we use is Copilot. Copilot is a huge tool. Um, so we take meetings, right? So we have a meeting, we record the meetings. Those meetings have transcripts, and then AI basically categorizes all these notes perfectly. Presentations, all that stuff. It formats processes, and it's a huge tool. It's something simple on the AI side, but it's a huge tool. It's a huge benefit for what we do. You're in a meeting at least once a week. I'm sorry, at least once a day, multiple times a week. So instead of having to note it down and rewrite it or whatever, it writes it clearly. Obviously it's going to be everything's going to be spelled correctly, and it's great. I do recommend note taking physically, just because
Yeah.
I think that's a huge tool and it's underrated. I talk to the team every day about taking notes because it's old school. A lot of people don't like writing. A lot of people rather use their voice audios or AI tools, but note taking is still a huge tool. And that's something that I recommend all of you to do once you guys. And it sounds like some of you might already be in the industry. Create your journal. Create your journal, and over 5 years, comb through it, see what you've learned, and that'll be something that you can use, for future reference.
All right.
And then I do have I see that one of your questions was dislikes about software, and I did take some notes, and my main comment about disliking software or technologies. I don't think I have any dislikes. The only comment that I constantly preach to the team is that technology and software are forever evolving, and if you don't keep up with it, it will leave you behind. So, you know, any organization, consider those opportunities to learn as much as you can about every piece of software and technology. Um, if if you want to learn, you'll learn. If you live your day to day and you don't necessarily push yourself to learn all these different technologies, I mean, you'll stay stagnant. So you have to really chase it. You have to be online. You have to constantly, be on your Autodesk website, checking for updates, checking for any Autodesk notes, checking Autodesk forums. Hey, what's everybody using for automation? Hey, what's your favorite tool about Revit? And just doing your own research. With nowadays everything's online. Personally, I use ChatGPT. They have great information, but you have to chase it. You have to look for it. You can't, it's not just going to fall in your lap. And you see it in the industry. You see who tries, who doesn't try. And if you guys are in the construction, in the management course, I would say you guys are go getters. Once you guys are done with school, I mean, now's your chance to really show what you're about, and it's literally you're the initiation. You're you're the one asking questions. I think one of the things that I did when I was learning is I wasn't afraid to ask. I knew I didn't know anything. I said, hey, why are you doing that? Hey, what is this? Why is it, from here to here? Why, every why. And you guys are young. Anybody you meet will be happy to say, well, it's done like this because of this. You note it down, you take it for what it's worth, and you ask someone else, hey, why is this done like this? And then they'll say something slightly different, but it'll be the same. And you'll, okay, well, now I have two reasonings. You ask the same question a couple times, and then you conclude to what it means based on everyone's answer with everything. You guys are gonna consider you guys are in your management course. You guys are going to be dealing with all stages of construction, from design to purchasing to the whole clash coordination to prefabrication to the sheet development to the layout process and to the installation and to the as-built process. So there's a lot of different stages. What can I learn? Uh, in design. What can I learn for purchasing? Because you have to remember, one thing is designing it, but then you have to purchase all the material. How do you purchase all the material? Things like that.
Okay.
Let's see. And then one of the I guess your last topics on here, it said pick one, and I want to give you guys a little bit of advice, and I think I gave it to you guys already. But the first thing, as far as advice, I would say decide which discipline you want to specialize in. Architecture, structure, concrete, mechanical, plumbing, HVAC, or electrical. Again, there's a lot to learn in one. Focus on one, become a master at one, and then once you become a master, you understand workflows, processes, you'll be able to step into other disciplines with that understanding. Once you decide what discipline you want, understand how technology will improve all stages of construction for each discipline. So I don't know what benefits HVAC. I mean, I have a good idea. It could be similar to the electrical or low voltage side. I don't know key components of architecture or structure. But my point is, once you pick a discipline and you go through all those stages, you're going to be in the field and you're going to see someone installing something and you're going to say, wait a minute, if that guy did this, it would probably make his job easier. You note it down, you go talk to someone important, you say, hey, I was out in the field, and I think if we use AI for labels, I think it'll save time on the labor side. And then you just start creating ideas of how to improve processes. It's, no one's going to go and say, hey, Jose, I think if we do this in the field, it's going to improve the process. Maybe they'll say that, but it's for the workers to identify those solutions. It's for the lower entry level, the mid, the high, and bring up and identify how to improve processes. And you don't have to be anything special. You just go out there, see what everyone's doing, and say, hey, I think if they did it this way, it would improve on time. And you start learning and being integrated. So that's a good way to understand how to improve every stage. And then the stages, like I said, design, purchasing, prefabrication, installation, as-builds, tracking material, labor progress. Because nowadays, and I know this might be a little bit over your guys' head, but when you purchase material, when you start installation, nowadays, and I haven't necessarily used it, but there's like a bar gun, a little code gun, where let's say this conduit is installed, it has a little barcode, you scan it, and now all that information goes to a database, and you understand how much conduit is being installed. And all that as a project manager, you want to make sure you understand how long it takes to install a piece of conduit, how long it takes to install the device, how long it takes to pull the cable, how many people you need, and data helps you make those decisions. So again, taking good notes, and then using technology, and you might have to look up certain technology for each stage, and I'm sure items will pop up A big note: spend time in the field. I know and maybe I don't know, but I would assume as younger generation, younger generations might think, oh, working from home is so cool. I can, wake up, jump on my computer, and finish my day. That's great. That's great. I'm not going to deny that working from home is great. But when you're learning, the place to learn is in the field. It's hard work. It's waking up. Personally, I lived 55 miles from the job site. So for 10 years, I woke up at 3 in the morning, was on site by 5. I walked the field. I went to learn, because no one tells you can't learn. Go walk the field, go talk to people, obviously you have work to finish. So you got to do 2 things at one time. You got to do your work and go learn. And it's tiring. You're working 10 hours, working 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours, and you're absorbing that info, and you do it again, and then again, and then 1 year goes by, and then 2 years go by, and you feel like you're learning little by little, but you want to learn more. It just takes time, dedication, and then doing the hard work. So again, spending a lot of time in the field, creating a journal, and then outwork everyone you meet. It's easy. It's easy. It's not hard. All you have to do is try a little bit harder than everyone else. Work ethic is a huge factor in learning and becoming successful in anything you do. So, we talk about on the management side that, and I don't think it's necessarily younger generations, but anyone can call out because they're sick. Anyone can say, hey, I need a Friday, I need a Monday, I need a Wednesday, and that's fine. If you're that type of person, request those days. But if you want to be successful in a short amount of time, 60-hour work weeks, 70-hour work weeks, no days off, and consistency. No one likes it, but trust me, at the end of the tunnel, you'll be happy after 10 years. I've been managing BDC departments for the last, probably like 10 years. I've been in the industry, no, a little less than 10 years. The first 5 years, I learned everything that I needed to lead. I led for like 2 years, and then after that, it was just pure managing. And again, getting out of your comfort zone. Don't stay in your comfort zone. If no one speaks up in a meeting, be the one to speak up. Like, hey, well, I do have a question, and either one, so that would be my advice to you guys. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be long hours, but that's good, because at the end of the day, you're working towards something. So you got to put in that work.
Okay. Well, that pretty much sums it up, Israel. I've enjoyed your time and your wisdom that you came in and gave us. That's a pretty good point of view, and I appreciate it, especially that us that are gonna go like into the industry in a couple of years, or are currently in right now too, because some of us are working. I know Isaiah is working at the moment, so I appreciate everything you told us, and yeah, I mean,
Definitely, man. I
that's
appreciate
pretty
you
much
guys
it.
wanting to talk to someone in the industry. I think it's valuable to get the insight from others. And with you guys being, pretty young and ambitious, go out there and chase it. And, I believe you guys will be successful, from start to finish.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for taking your time out today.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and good luck out there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hope you do as well.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.